Hey guys, welcome back. I'm back from Halo Outpost and recovering from jet lag, so, I figured the best way to recover was to talk about all the new Reach PC and Xbox goodness that got released the day that I left. I would have loved to have had this video out like a week ago, but fate had me in this video meet as foes, or something along those lines. Today we're talking Reach's Elite customization, Firefight, the Forge map transfer, flights, delays, and more. Now, as annoying as these delays are, even though they technically aren't delays because a release date was never given, it does give you time to catch up on Halo's expanded universe in time for Reach, and there is no better way to do that than with our good friend Audible, who are kindly sponsoring this video. Audible is an amazing service that I personally have used to listen to Halo audiobooks for over 3 years now, and I've used it to research so many videos. If you sign up for an Audible free trial today using my new special link, audible.com/HiddenXperia, or by texting HiddenXperia to 500 if you live in the US, you can get one free audiobook a month to listen to as many times as you want and to keep forever, even if you cancel. Given that this is a Reach video, I can personally highly suggest checking out The Fall of Reach, the original telling of the events of Reach that kickstarted not only the entire Halo story, but the entire Halo franchise. Or, alternatively, you can choose from any of the other 25 Halo audiobooks that span all different eras of the Halo universe. The best thing about Audible is that you can stay up to date with your Halo lore on the way to work, while you're working out, and even while you're playing Halo. And if you don't even like the audiobook that you get for free, then, well, you can exchange it for free for another one, no questions asked. So, in the waiting period for MCC PC and Halo Infinite, sign up for an Audible free trial today using audible.com/HiddenXperia, or by texting HiddenXperia to 500 if you're in the US. Thank you again to Audible for sponsoring this video. So, there's not as much news in this update as the previous ones, but there's still quite a lot to talk about. In fact, there's 2 news updates, so, let's start off on a good note. 343 have already shown off quite a few elements of the updated Halo Reach customization and progression system, but so far, all of it, and I mean literally 100% of it, has been Spartan focused. There's been a distinct lack of anything elite, and some people have been kind of worried that playable elites have been cut or delayed or something. Well, worry no longer, my friends. Here we have our first look at Reach's elites being rendered in the Unreal Engine 4 in Reach's MCC customization screen, and boy do our hinge-headed friends look good. Now, onto flighting and the many delays. Now, I say delays in inverted commas because, again, technically these aren't delays because there was never a date set for flighting or the release. Rather, they're just setbacks. But anyways, let's begin with Xbox flighting because I get a lot, I mean probably hundreds if not thousands of comments from people worrying that 343 have forgotten about console with all the PC hype, and like I've said many times before, they have not forgotten. They detailed the exact reasons why it's taking so long in this blog post. Basically, with an Xbox, because the hardware is more limited than a PC, they're running into memory issues with MCC. Now, MCC is already a humongous game that's pushing the upper echelons of the Xbox One's memory limits. Like they say, it has 7 games and 11 game engines packed into it? So adding yet another game and yet another 2 game engines, the Halo Reach engine and also Unreal Engine 4 for progression and armor customization, is extremely difficult, as you can imagine. They're currently trying to get around these memory issues, and as soon as they find a way to get everything working within the Xbox's limitations, flighting will begin. They do say that progress has been made, but again, there's no rough date at all for flighting, so I guess time will tell. I'm going to cover the PC FireFlight that was meant to happen recently in a few minutes. 343 literally just revealed a massive blog post about it and about why it was delayed, and I want to cover all of that together at once. So quickly, before we do get to that, let's cover some of the other stuff that the MCC team revealed. They're currently working on getting Reach running at various different aspect ratios and resolutions, and they revealed that Reach is now officially working in ultra-wide resolutions with custom HUD placements. And my god, this looks insane. This is an almost 10-year-old game, by the way. A 10-year-old game running on 2005 era hardware. It really goes to show how well the art team over at Bungie designed Reach, because honestly, this game is aging like fine wine, and I think MCC PC is gonna just make that even more obvious than it already is. Something I do hope they support is stretch resolutions. I play a lot of Counter-Strike, and I recently switched to a 16:10 stretched res, and honestly, the improvements that I've seen in my aim since have been honestly like mind-blowing, and I'd love to be able to play Reach at a resolution like that, and I know that a lot of other PC FPS players would too. As for anti-cheat, this is another thing that I've seen lots of people worried about, and to be fair, that's very understandable. 343 said that they're going to be using an industry-leading anti-cheat, so maybe Punkbuster or BattlEye? I don't really know any others. There's also going to be the VAC support as well on Steam, I assume. And that it's also going to be running on dedicated servers that they host for matchmaking, which means that any people playing matchmaking should be protected from hackers, but also that it's going to allow people to play on modded private servers, so you won't get banned for tweaking and modding the game as long as you aren't playing in official matchmaking, which is honestly like great. That's exactly what we need. It gives us maximum freedom to play around with the game, maximum protection from people looking to ruin the game, and also maximum protection for us from getting VAC banned for playing privately with mods. Perfecto. They also issued another reminder that if you're going to Halo Outpost in either Houston or Anaheim, you're going to be able to play Tip of the Spear on PC there, so if you missed a flight, now's your chance to play. Just make sure that you don't miss your flight to the event. Now, something a little bit different that I'm only briefly going to cover are the updates coming to Halo Combat Evolved. Now, Halo CE on MCC isn't actually the Xbox version, rather it's Gearbox's PC port that was changed quite a lot when it was ported to PC, mostly for the worse, and a lot of hardcore CE players want it restored to the original Xbox version as much as possible, rather than it being the 2003 port. Now, some of these changes include the audio in multiplayer being the remastered audio, not the original audio, bug teleporters, bad changes to Bungie's original maps, unbalanced weapons, lag issues, etc, etc. And the news is that 343 are planning on addressing many of these issues when CE comes back to PC, and they plan to make both the PC and the Xbox versions much closer to the original Xbox version than the PC port, which is great to hear. If you want to see a full list of the issues, then I've left a Reddit link down below in the description. Prepare to never look at Combat Evolved on MCC the same ever again. Now, for something that we haven't heard about for quite a while, and something that, quite honestly, I kind of forgot existed. The MCC Customs browser. Now, this got announced like ages ago. I think it may have even been announced when they said that they were fixing MCC like 2 years ago now. And don't worry, it's still in the works. It hasn't been cancelled or anything. 343 just had to put it on the back burner for now while they work on more important features. I mean, at the end of the day, we do have the match composer, which isn't too dissimilar, so that can sort of tide us over until the customs browser eventually comes out. Now, something really important. In the last news video, we talked about the fabled custom game and forge map transfer, and the dates for it are finally here. On August 12th, all game modes in your original Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Halo 4 file shares will be transferred over to MCC, and on August 26th, the same will happen for all forge maps in your file shares. Now, remember, and I cannot stress this enough, this is only happening once. This is the only chance that you will ever get to transfer all these decades worth of iconic maps and modes over to MCC on console and PC. So for the love of God, do not miss it. Make sure you put everything in your original file shares on the backwards compatible versions or the Xbox 360 versions of all the games 24 hours before the transfer happens, and leave them in your file share for 24 hours after, just to be safe. This applies again to both modes and maps. And like we said before, films, clips, and screenshots will not be transferred over, so make sure you fill your file shares with game modes on August 11th and maps on August 25th. Again, please do not forget. So, with all that extra stuff out the way, let's get back to the now infamous FireFlight. What happened to it? Well, 343 revealed that, as we can kind of guess, it was meant to happen in July, but clearly it didn't, and there's no rough date for it now either. The shorthand is that they ran into a bunch of major bugs with it, and we're going to elaborate more on that in a second. They did also reveal a bunch of other pretty funny bugs with the game in general, though, that I've got on screen right now. Some of these are, what's the word? Interesting, to say the least. They also revealed that Reach's Firefight matchmaking is going to be getting a massive networking rework. which means that finally, after 10 years, Firefight matchmaking won't have 10 seconds of input delay. It will finally be playable with friends, thank the Lord. Honestly, I found Firefight matchmaking literally unplayable back in the day. Like, I genuinely couldn't play it. The lag was unbearable. So to know that 343 are going to be fully fixing it is like music to my ears. Glorious, iconic music. But what about the bugs? Well, 343 went into pretty extreme detail about the bugs that prevented the flight from going live, as well as the flighting procedure in general, and when I say extreme, like, trust me, I mean it. This is a level of transparency that I have literally never seen before from any AAA developer in existence, so honestly, just massive props to 343 for being this open. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be asking, isn't the point of flighting to find bugs? And, well, the answer is yes, that is the point. But when there are bugs that are so major that they prevent people from, like, even booting the game to find other bugs, they can't begin the flight for obvious reasons. These bugs are called blocking bugs, and they found far too many of them in the build to release it. When 343 are preparing a build for us to test, it has to pass through 3 stages, which they refer to as rings, before it can be released. Ring 0 is the initial ring, during which the build is play-tested by internal studio folks to find serious blocking bugs, and if none are found, then the build progresses to Ring 1. Ring 1 is where external partners who work closely with 343 test the build, and they do so all around the globe with players who are familiar with Halo content. If they find a serious blocking bug here, the build can be reverted to Ring 0 and be tested again from scratch. If not, it progresses to Ring 2, which is similar to Ring 1, but with a much more diverse group of external partners to test the game under like various different circumstances and hardwares and connections and all that stuff. Again, if a blocking bug is found here, the build can be reverted to Ring 0, and if not, it moves on to Ring 3. And Ring 3 is where the build is tested by Halo insiders, aka us. The FireFlight build is currently in Ring 1, and 5 blocking bugs are standing in the way of it progressing to Ring 2. These bugs are as follows. The security solution, which I assume means anti-cheat, doesn't auto-install when the game is installed. There's long menu delays and matchmaking errors. Opening the settings in-game can cause the roster to stay on screen. There are frame drops in various menus at high resolutions, and starting a game of Firefight can sometimes crash the entire game, which isn't great when the entire flight is based around Firefight. Once those bugs are fixed and the build hits Ring 2, there are then 15 blocking bugs in Ring 2 that need to be fixed before it hits Ring 3, and we can play it. So, how about that for transparency? This level of openness is quite literally unheard of in the AAA industry. Like, imagine Treyarch or Infinity Ward, for example, being this open. I'm not knocking them or anything, but you literally couldn't imagine it. Despite the ups and downs with 343 over the years, this really puts into perspective how lucky we are to have them in the current AAA industry. So again, major props to the team over there for being so open with us. They did say, however, that all these issues are not preventing work on the entirety of MCC PC, so work on the entire package is still going on despite these issues. I do think delaying FireFlight and also the Xbox flights is definitely worth it though. I mean, there's absolutely no point in having a flight when nobody can play it. Remember, the point of these flights isn't actually for us to like play the game for the first time. I mean, it kind of is, but primarily it's meant for us to find and report bugs, and everybody flighting needs to be able to do that as easily as possible if we want the final release to be as high quality as it needs to be. MCC PC is such a massive opportunity for Halo to explode once again in popularity. The launch has to be absolutely flawless, and I genuinely mean that. There can be literally 0 bugs in this launch if we want it to go as well as possible, and if that means the game is delayed a little bit, then honestly, so be it. Delay the game. Don't worry though, people have absolutely not forgotten about it. Despite all these air quotes delays, MCC is still the 2nd most wishlisted game on Steam. It's currently higher than Destiny 2, Doom Eternal, and Outer Worlds. The only game that's beating it is Cyberpunk, which, you know, Keanu Reeves. I mean, it's pretty impressive for a game that's been delayed in air quotes so much and that consists of games that are in excess of like 17 years old. It's pretty damn good going, if you ask me. So I think that just about covers it. There wasn't as many new reveals in this update as the last couple, but what was there was really important, and I felt like I had to cover it all. I mean, like I said, this level of transparency is something that literally every other AAA game community dreams of, so even when the context isn't exactly what we want ideally, I still feel like we need to just take a minute and appreciate it. Speaking of appreciation, thank you once again to Audible for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to claim a free Halo audiobook using my referral code to not only support me, but to also dive even deeper into Halo's lore in preparation for Reach PC and Infinite. So I want to give a big thank you to all of my amazing patrons for the continued support over there, and thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.